What's up guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel once again. My name is Dash Lifestyle. Kindly for watching me for the first time, remember to subscribe, like, share and also comment. To my returning subscriber, thank you so much for always coming back and watching my video. Thank you so much for the love and support, and greetings to my brothers and sisters all the way from Caribbean country. So guys, in today's video I want us to watch this video from a white man. He's called Dr. Howard. Dr. Howard, he has come out and exposed how the West and the Chinese people, they are making the Jamaica to be poor and Africa to be poor. And also, these people, they don't want to leave Jamaica and Africa. They are still milking Jamaica and Africa. And that's why we are seeing the Jamaica and some of the Africa country, it is not growing in terms of the development. So kindly guys, watch this video, then I'll be back with more comment.
Dr. Howard explains why the West and China wants Africa to remain poor.
Africa, historically, sub-Saharan Africa, has been fundamental to the global prosperity of the advanced countries. Okay? And Africa had a role to play. It has a role as a raw material producer. We will not allow sub-Saharan Africa to escape that. Okay, we do everything to keep sub-Saharan Africa where it is, also impoverished. It's absolutely vital for the prosperity of everyone else. So let's get clear about that. Okay, and this means all the economic structures, all the global institutions, and the economics we teach everyone is all designed to keep Africa exactly where it is. And whether it is Europe or US or now China, it's always the same. We need Africa to be impoverished because we need those raw materials and we need them dirt cheap. Okay, so that's the message. It doesn't mean to say that there's nothing Africans can do. Of course there is. Okay, but this is the opposition that they're fighting. This is what it's about. Because if Africa does do something different, I assure you living standards of all those in Europe and North America and Asia is going to fall. Okay? And that is a big price to pay. I assure you that the West is not going to allow that without a big fight. Okay, so this is what it's fundamentally about. What I want to show you is how these structures are operating. It's just 20 minutes, so we can't do very much, but just to give you a little bit of an idea. And why I keep the ideology part there is because we are part of the producers of ideology. At universities and academic institutions, we are complicit in this whole enterprise. Okay, so the job of many Western academics is to convince Africans they have to keep doing what they're doing. Okay? And to show them it's your fault that you're poor. It's not our fault. It's your fault that you're poor. You know? So this is what we do in academic institutions, and I want to show that as well. We just start. This is what it's basically about, so you know what it's about. But I want to just show you the extent to which Africa is specializing in the production of raw materials and basic agricultural goods. We know the basic forces that have caused this underdevelopment. We know it's colonization. I will not discuss that very much because my colleague speaker is going to go into some aspects of this. But I do want to discuss the global economic structures, the global financial institutions, and economic ideology, briefly, to give you a flavor of those. The thing that you really need to see is the top line. Okay, and the extent of dependency is captured by this statistic at the top. Okay, and you compare it with all other income groups, and what you see is essentially in that one statistic how dependent sub-Saharan Africa is on raw material production. Okay, this is the very heart of what makes sub-Saharan Africa beat. Okay, here, just to have a look at one very important additional statistic. With all this export coming from sub-Saharan Africa, how much does sub-Saharan Africa account for in terms of global trade value? We know there are vast resources coming from there, but look at the bottom line in terms of global trade value. Look at that. 0.5%, 1975, 0.95% going down to 0.1. To 0.1. Meaning that with all these vast resources being produced, how much are they getting for it? Nothing. Nothing. This is a very significant piece of data. Then I just want to show you what has happened to sub-Saharan Africa, because what we know, and from all studies, no country ever develops without manufacturing. Okay, producing raw materials will not take you anywhere. Producing basic agricultural goods will not take you anywhere. And let's have a look at how much manufacturing activity takes place in sub-Saharan Africa. We can look over the last 15 odd years, 15, 20 years. And we see manufacturing has actually declined as a percentage of the total. This is percentages of total production in sub-Saharan Africa. How much of it is accounted for by manufacturing? So this figure here is 17% of the total. Most of the rest, when we talk of industry, it includes manufacturing, but the bulk of it is mining. Okay? Raw material extraction. This is the bulk of it. And here we see actually raw material extraction has stayed the same. What has caused industry to fall is the fall in manufacturing production. This is deliberate because we will never, as Western economists, as Western policymakers, we cannot afford to allow Africa to industrialize and start producing manufactures. Okay, so we will do everything to stop that. And I'm going to show you how we actually block that. It's obvious in certain ways, but it's less obvious in other ways. Now, we have actually seen periods of rapid growth in sub-Saharan Africa, misleading people, saying, oh, you know, we're now doing much better. And this has happened recently. Recently, I've had students come and tell me, we've done much better now. And you can see growth rates rose quite sharply in recent times. Now are starting to go again down. But if you look historically, the same thing happened earlier. Why? Because in these two periods, we had East Asian rapid industrialization processes. So in the earlier period, we had Japan and Korea and Taiwan. Okay, rapid growth, sucking in raw materials from Africa, driving up the prices, and then sub-Saharan African countries grew. Exporting raw materials, they grew. But after those countries finished industrialization, then sub-Saharan African growth rate again fell. Okay, but along comes China. Next wave. Okay, again, sub-Saharan African growth rises, but now China is going down. As many of you now know from the press, China is going down. But sub-Saharan Africa is going down even faster. And we're going to go back to where we were again, with very low prices of raw materials, very low growth rates, and again, the sorts of poverty that we saw once before. Because, bottom line, sub-Saharan Africa is condemned to this role, just the supplier of raw materials, not a manufacturer.
Guys, I hope you have watched that video from Dr. Howard and you have seen how he has come out and explained how the West and the Chinese, they are milking Africa and some black country in the Caribbean. This is exactly what it is happening here in Africa, and also the same way what it is happening in Jamaica, because a lot of Jamaicans, they have been complaining the Chinese, they are coming in their country, the Chinese, they are taking over their country. But you can see right now in Jamaica, the Chinese, they are now owning some of the biggest businesses in Jamaica. It is owned by the Chinese, and also some of the apartments, some nice restaurant and hotels, it is owned by the Chinese. This is to tell you that the Chinese, they are really taking over in Jamaica, and most of Jamaicans, they have been complaining about the Chinese. They have complaining to their government to remove these Chinese immigrants who are coming and taking advantage of their land, because the Chinese, they are buying land. They are now opening the big businesses in Jamaica, and because of that, we have a lot of Chinese immigrants in Jamaica. And also, you have seen how the West, they are also doing to some of the African country. These are the people who are coming in African country. They are turning our leaders to be puppet. They are buying our leaders. They are bribing our leaders so that they can sell our treasures thing to them. And this is one way to tell you that the West, they are still milking Africa. I told you that these ways, they cannot live without Africa. They cannot stay without Africa, and this is one of the reasons to why they don't want to leave Africa. This Dr. Howard, he has come out and say they cannot allow Africa to be itself by becoming its industrial. They cannot give Africa more power to do some of the things by their own. And the same way that I keep on telling you that when these people, they will allow African to print its own money, Africa, it will become one of the richest continent in all of this world, because we as African, we have a lot of resources. We have our own resources. We have a lot of things to offer in this world. But these people, they saw that African, they have resources, they have minerals. What things that they lack, it is the money. And these people, they decided to come with paper, to come with this thing called money, and they give us money so that we as African people, we can give out our resources, our minerals to these people, and in an exchange of money, because the West, they don't have anything to offer. Their land, they don't have minerals, they don't have resources. What they have, it is only the money. They came out with money, and they put money, and they put value in this money. And also, they convince us as a black people, as an African people, that with this paper that we call it money, it has more value than our minerals, than our resources. And for us, African, how we became stupid people to give out our resources, and these people giving us money, it is the thing that I cannot imagine up to date that we as African, we can do this thing, because these people that are taking us for granted, these people, they cannot leave our country alone. I remember I told you that these people, they are the ones who came here in Africa. They divided this Africa. Africa, it was one continent, but these people, they divided this Africa. And also, after dividing this Africa, they told us that they give each and every African country a border. They gave out the border. If you cross this side, you are going to another country. If you cross this side, you are going to another African country. After doing that here in Africa, also, they came and taught us black people that we should not supposed to love our brothers and sisters. We should not supposed to support our own races. The races that we should support, it is the white man, it is the Chinese, it is the India. Those are the races that we as black people, up to date, we are still supporting them, because it is very difficult to find us black people supporting our own, and that it is true. We as African, we love supporting the Chinese, the white, the India. We love supporting other races than our own race. But it is now the high time for us African people to support our own race. I told you that I want to see African becoming borderless. Although these people, they came and divide our Africa, I want to see Africa becoming borderless. I want to see African using one currency. And also, I want to see Africa printing its own money. I want to see African becoming independent. Look what Ibrahim Traore is doing. Ibrahim Traore is showing us the way, is showing our African leader that we as African, we can do it without depending to the West. We can do it without depending to the Chinese, to the China. We can do it, we can develop without getting help from these other people, because we as African country, and also in some country in the Caribbean, they love getting money from the Chinese people. They are getting loan from the IMF, from the Western bank, and because of this, we are still being colonized, because these people, they are willingly to give us this money. The IMF, it is willing to give the African money, the loan that they are usually give to the African, and the same way which the loans that they are giving out to some country in the Caribbean, the Jamaica, the same way with the Chinese people, they also giving out their money, so that these people, they are giving out this money to this country, because they don't want this money in return. What they want, it is the land, and it is also to control how we as people, how we as black people, how we are living. And this is to tell you that we as African people, we need to stop depending to these people. We want to become our own. I know some of our leaders, they are puppets. Some of our leaders, they are being controlled from outside. Some of our leaders, they are selling out our country. And it is the right time for us as a black people, the Caribbean people, the African people, to stop these leaders who are betraying us, to stop these leaders who are becoming puppets, to stop leaders who are working for the colonizers, because we want to see African growing. We want to see African becoming its independent. And also, guys, I've been telling you that I want to see Africa having its own network, because I know that when you are in Africa, you cannot easily communicate with the person who is in South Africa, and yet we are in the same continent. I want to see African having one network, so that we can communicate and we can grow very fast, because these people, they are not ready to leave African alone. They are not ready to leave black countries alone. And this is what it is happening also. The Jamaicans, they have been crying that they need repatriation from the West people, from the colonizers, but they are not giving out the repatriation to the Jamaicans, because they feel like they are not yet done with the Jamaican. The same way some of the African countries, they were crying. They wanted to be paid by these colonizers. They wanted to be given a repatriation by the colonizers, but up to date, the colonizers, they are not giving them the repatriation. They feel like these people, they are still under us. Why are we paying them repatriation? And this tell you that these people, they are not ready to leave Africa. And you have heard from Dr. Howard. He has came out and revealed the secret that these people, they are using just to take our resources here in Africa, to take the Jamaican resources. And also, I was telling you that these people, they have stolen a lot of our resources. And these people, when they are taking our resources, they are going it in their country. They are using our resources to fund their health care. They are using our resources to open more schools to their children. They are using our resources here in Africa to create jobs in their country. And that's why in their country, they cannot lack a job. It is all our resources from here that they are using to develop their own country. And also, when you go in their museum, you will find that they are having our treasures thing that they stole from here in Africa. The same way the Jamaicans, they have been complaining that the colonizer, they should return their treasures thing that they stole in Jamaica. And these people, they are having our treasures thing in their museum. And when we are black people, we are going to their country, they are charging us to pay so that we can see our treasures thing that they stole from here in Africa. I keep on telling you that one day you will return these treasures thing that you have stolen from here in Africa. The colonizers, the West, you just stop milking Africa. You should stop taking our resources. You should stop you should return our resources that you stole from here in Africa. So kindly guys, I don't want to talk too much. Subscribe if you haven't, like this video, share and also comment. See you on my next one. Bye bye.